Diddy documentary. It's 4 parts, 4 hours long, and it's a walk through Diddy's.
Justin, you ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives. You know, where we hanging out and what we doing, we can't really disclose.
It finally happened. 50 Cent just dropped the most explosive documentary of 2025, Diddy, The Making of a Bad Boy, hit Netflix in early December, and the internet lost its mind. The footage was wild, the claims were heavy, and with Diddy locked up in a Brooklyn jail waiting for trial, the timing felt unreal. But here's the real twist. Netflix didn't show everything. Some scenes were way too messy, some witnesses too scared to talk, and the wildest allegations, they started surfacing the second the documentary went live. People were whispering, did they talk about the man who got in? Nope, they skipped over that. And don't even ask about the part with the metal nipples. That was completely erased from the final cut.
The you of then was on a path of self-destruction.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I would have, for sure, 100%. Yeah. It would have been no bueno. It was bad. I don't know if I'd be alive for sure. It was dark.
So today, we're diving into the raw footage Netflix refused to show. The scenes that raised questions they didn't dare touch. This is the stuff that made execs nervous and fans start digging for clues. Picture this. March 9th, 1997, Los Angeles. Biggie had climbed from Brooklyn hustler to rap royalty. But the city he walked into was on edge, still shaking from Tupac's murder just 6 months earlier. The air was thick with paranoia. Rumors flew, tension boiled, and every artist in the game knew L.A. wasn't safe. Biggie was there promoting Life After Death, his second album. Interviews, parties, media runs, everything was moving fast. That night, he pulled up to the Vibe magazine party at the Peterson Automotive Museum. Some said it was pride, others said it was business. Either way, he showed up sharp as ever, ready to represent. Then the unthinkable hit.
Has been working on this documentary for almost 2 years. The footage he has is insane. The people he got speaking about Diddy is...
On his way back to the hotel, Biggie's SUV was ambushed at Wilshire in South Fairfax. 4 shots rang out, 1 deadly. Just like that, Biggie was gone before the city could even breathe. Another legend taken too soon. Another bloody page written in the East Coast versus West Coast feud. But here's what Netflix didn't show, the side story from that same night involving Mace. While headlines exploded over Biggie's death, Mace was holed up in a hotel room surrounded by nearly 70 Bloods. No exaggeration. He was trapped, stuck in a situation nobody wanted to talk about. Some people whispered that Mace might have been a secondary target that night. The streets still talk about it, and Netflix stayed silent. So why was Mace trapped like that? Because, according to insiders, Mace supposedly had receipts, information about the secret inner workings of Bad Boy Records that nobody ever wanted to see daylight. He knew things that could shake the whole empire. He couldn't step outside, couldn't call for backup, and nobody from the crew came to help. It was every man for himself, and Mace was left stranded.
Man who nutted on his nipples.
I didn't hear the nut on the nipples.
50 was not about to put that
Did not talk about the nut on nipples, but they do have jurors in there that
He
talk
should have
about...
put that after the sanitizer part.
Eventually, one man stepped up, former Bad Boy security guard Gene Deal. He had to fight through the chaos to get Mace out safely. That night changed everything for Mace. Loyalty, gone in a heartbeat. The people he once trusted vanished, and that betrayal cut deep. He never forgot it, not for a second. Years later, Mace started speaking up about that night in LA, about the madness he witnessed, the things happening behind closed doors, and the secrets nobody dared mention. He dropped hints about power plays, hidden fear, and the kind of loyalty games that could destroy a whole crew. Netflix didn't touch any of it, not a single frame. And just when people thought the story couldn't get wilder, the next bombshell hit only 1 day after the documentary went live. On December 8th, 2024, a shocking lawsuit surfaced, one that could have completely flipped everything 50 Cent had just exposed on Netflix.
This morning in Los Angeles, the 24-year-old rapper whose real name is Christopher Wallace lived in Raleigh in the 1980s.
FBI agents are looking for a man they say could...
Both communities are mourning the death of the rapper known as Notorious B.I.G.
The entire hip-hop world froze when the news broke. A woman, identified only as Jane Doe, amended her existing case against Diddy and added another name, Sean Jay-Z Carter. The accusations? That both men had assaulted her when she was just 13 years old, allegedly at an MTV Video Music Awards after-party back in 2000. Let that sink in for a second. These weren't just random names. These were two of the biggest figures in hip-hop history. The claims were heavy, dark, and beyond shocking, and the timing, absolutely unreal. The documentary dropped one day before this lawsuit hit the headlines. Just imagine if this news had broken even a week earlier. It would have flipped the whole Netflix narrative upside down. Jay-Z wasted no time firing back. He called the allegations idiotic and blasted attorney Tony Busby, accusing him of trying to shake down celebrities for fame and cash. He didn't hold back. He said straight up that the claims were pure theatrics meant to stir chaos. This twist left everyone speechless. Just when people thought the storm around Diddy was wild enough, this dragged Jay-Z right into the crossfire, and the internet exploded with questions Netflix never answered. Meanwhile, Diddy, in true Diddy fashion, has always called Jay-Z his brother, a word that, in the music world, carries heavy meaning. It's more than friendship. It's loyalty, power, and respect all rolled into one. These two, straight-up hip-hop royalty, birds of a feather, ruling the industry with empires, influence, and a history that stretches back decades.
Was trapped in a hotel. It was about probably like 70 or so bloods in the hallway. I couldn't even leave my room.
From collaborations to business moves, their connection runs deep, like two mob kings holding court in their own kingdoms. But this isn't about who's guilty or innocent. It's about what wasn't shown. This chapter was just too hot, too explosive, and somehow it never made it into the final cut of Netflix's documentary. The streaming giant clearly played it safe, and that's where things start to get real interesting. Tony Busby, the lawyer behind the shocking Jane Doe case, isn't new to controversy. He's built a name going after high-profile figures, and he's gone toe-to-toe with Diddy before. So when Jay-Z's name suddenly popped up in those court papers, insiders knew it wasn't just random. It looked strategic, a move designed to crank the pressure to the max. The documentary couldn't have predicted that kind of escalation. And suddenly, just a day after the doc went live, the whole narrative flipped overnight. Viewers who had just watched 50 Cent's series were blindsided. They didn't see it coming. It made people wonder, how much of the real drama, the raw behind-the-scenes chaos actually makes it to our screens? What gets buried? What stories get edited out to keep things safe? Because here's the truth. The Netflix version of Diddy's empire left out one of the most explosive subplots. The tangled story of Jay-Z, Diddy, and Jane Doe. That twist alone could have changed everything. But Netflix avoided it, and the viewers were left in the dark. And believe it or not, that wasn't the only missing file. Another story, maybe even darker, never made it to air. The mysterious case of Kim Porter. Her name has always been woven into the bad boy legacy, and her story connects straight into the heart of Diddy's empire.
When Puff had got on a plane and left Mace, we went and got him and let him meet some black hands. We went and got Mace. Mace came down, went to his car, and he got...
Kim wasn't just an ex. She was the mother of his children, the woman who stood by him for decades, the one who saw everything behind the empire's polished image. But what happened before her death made people question everything. Kim Porter passed away unexpectedly on November 15th, 2018, the official cause listed as pneumonia. But those who knew her said her final days were anything but normal. Weeks before she died, Kim had attended a Hollywood premiere with Diddy, the Netflix premiere of the holiday calendar, starring her son Quincy Brown. Reports said she wasn't feeling well. Fever, flu symptoms over 102 degrees, but she still showed up. And why? Because Diddy, ever focused on appearances, allegedly wanted her there to keep up the perfect image. The timing, the pressure, the illness, it all painted a picture too complicated for Netflix to touch. That's why her story was quietly left out. But her name still echoes through the cracks of the bad boy universe. Cameras flashing, lights blazing, the picture-perfect family moment. Quincy right in the center, the twin daughters glowing on either side, Diddy front and center like a proud king, and Kim beside him, forcing a faint smile for the cameras. On the surface, it looked flawless, but behind that polished photo op, something was off. Her body looked weak, her eyes tired. She might have gone along with the show, but it was clear her health was fading fast. And there's more.
Accused the two hip-hop artists of sexual assault when she was 13.
Word started spreading that Kim Porter had been thinking about writing a tell-all book, one that could have shaken the industry from top to bottom. Officially, her friends said it was going to be about raising well-mannered kids in Hollywood, but fans weren't buying that. They believed she'd seen too much, that she knew secrets Diddy would never want in print. Her history with Diddy was anything but simple.
And Jay-Z denying any wrongdoing, Jay-Z calling the allegations frivolous, fictitious, and appalling.
They met back in 1994, had their first child in 1998, split when Diddy started dating Jennifer Lopez, and then got back together not long after. In 2003, she gave birth to their twin daughters. But by 2007, it all fell apart again when the truth surfaced about Diddy fathering another child with someone else. Despite all that chaos, they somehow managed to co-parent, keeping the family together in public, even when the truth behind the scenes looked much darker. But there were moments that went way beyond heartbreak. During one of their breakups, Kim began seeing Shakir Stewart, a respected Def Jam executive. And according to reports, Diddy didn't handle it well. Rumors said he reacted violently, leaving Kim with a broken nose. Months later, Stewart was found dead from what was ruled a self-inflicted gunshot wound, but the whispers of foul play never really went away. These are the details that Netflix didn't dare include, the kind of truths that shake up everything people thought they knew about the bad boy era. In her final days, Kim's love for her kids was all that mattered.
It's feeling marvelous. You gotta get the shoes though. Y'all know what it is.
Even as her health declined, she was thinking ahead. Reports say she sent her children to Diddy's house while she tried to recover from what everyone thought was just the flu. 3 days before she passed, she called him and told him to take care of them. Those words hit hard, almost like she sensed something wasn't right. But Kim's story wasn't the only one Netflix left out. There's another name that keeps surfacing, Gene Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard and one of the few people who actually saw the real machinery behind Bad Boy Records. If you've ever gone down the rabbit hole of Diddy exposés online, you've definitely seen Gene in interviews, calm but serious, dropping details about what he calls the dark side of Diddy. Gene Deal was there through it all. The rise of Bad Boy Records, the wild parties, the private deals, and the studio sessions that shaped hip-hop history. He stood by during Biggie's reign and witnessed the industry power Diddy was building from scratch. Loyalty, betrayal, money, secrets, Gene saw every piece of it, and he's never been shy about spilling what really went down. These are the voices Netflix avoided, the insiders who lived through the chaos, saw the truth firsthand, and still carry stories too dangerous for the cameras to roll. Gene Deal's interviews have blown up across the internet. Millions of views, endless re-uploads, and entire podcasts dedicated to his claims. He sat down with shows like Anything Goes with James English and teamed up with other insiders to unpack what he says are the hidden corners of the music industry. Tunnels, secret gatherings, and whispered rituals most people wouldn't believe. But if you watch 50 Cent's Netflix documentary, something stands out immediately. Gene Deal is nowhere in it. Not a single clip, not even a name drop, nothing. And that silence speaks volumes. The reason? Gene's stories are way too intense. Not the kind of material Netflix wants to fact-check or try to debunk. Because Gene isn't talking gossip or petty rumors. He's claiming to have seen things that go beyond the usual drama. His stories dive into alleged occult practices, strange rituals, and moments that sound straight out of a thriller. One of his wildest accounts? Central Park, 1999, right before Diddy's infamous nightclub shooting trial. According to Gene, Diddy was shaken, scared he might actually get convicted. That's when, as Gene tells it, Diddy brought him to Central Park in the middle of the night to meet a man who supposedly performed spiritual rituals. What Gene says happened next sounds unreal. He claims Diddy dropped to his knees as the man waved smoke around him, burning something that looked like sage, filling the air with a strange smell. Then, Gene says, the man pulled out a white bird in a cage and began a ritual, something that Gene described as a kind of sacrifice meant to protect Diddy before the verdict. After it ended, they reportedly left straight for court. Gene swears this happened exactly as he tells it. And what makes it even more chilling? He's repeated this same story for years, every detail consistent. The exact location in Central Park, what Diddy was wearing, even the time of night. He doesn't sound like a man spinning a fantasy. He sounds like someone who saw something he still can't fully make sense of. But Netflix, they wanted no part of it. How could they possibly verify a story like that, an alleged ritual in Central Park from over 2 decades ago? They couldn't. And that's exactly why it never made it on screen. Too dark, too bizarre, too impossible to confirm. Yet millions of people have already heard Gene's voice, watching his interviews, analyzing his words, and connecting dots Netflix didn't dare show. To this day, those clips rack up views because they dig into the side of Diddy's empire nobody else touches, the version that's whispered about, not broadcast. And here's the truth. Gene Deal wasn't just some random outsider talking for attention. He worked inside the bad boy machine for years. He guarded Diddy, saw the business up close, and lived through the rise and chaos that defined an era of hip-hop. Whether people believe his stories or not, his perspective carries weight because he was there. But for Netflix, that's exactly the issue. Gene's stories are too controversial, too unverified, too out there for a mainstream audience. They didn't want the smoke, so this wild chapter of hip-hop history stayed off-screen, surviving only in late-night interviews, YouTube clips, and whispers among fans digging for the truth. It's the ultimate deleted scene, a version of Diddy's empire that the cameras were never allowed to show. And then there are the memories of someone who was actually there. While Kim Porter's heartbreaking story was left in silence and Gene Deal's wild Central Park ritual never saw the light of day, there's another name Netflix refused to touch. And this one shocked everyone, Justin Bieber. Yes, that Justin Bieber.
He's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, like where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose.
The global pop star. And if you thought 50 Cent's documentary was already pushing limits, this one blasts things into a whole new level of controversy. Let's rewind to November 2009. Bieber was just 15 years old, a small-town kid from Canada who'd blown up overnight after being discovered on YouTube. He was still just singing in his bedroom, chasing his dream, when Diddy stepped into the picture. Suddenly, Diddy dropped a video on his official YouTube channel titled Justin Bieber, 48 Hours with Diddy.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I would have, for sure, 100%. Yeah, it would have been no bueno. It was bad. I don't know if I'd be alive, for sure. It was dark.
At first, it looked innocent, just a superstar hangout. Diddy joked around, saying he had custody of Bieber for the next 48 hours and promised it would be every 15-year-old's dream. Wild, exciting, unforgettable. But then came the line that made everyone pause. Diddy said, "Where we're hanging out and what we're doing, we can't really disclose." Wait, what? Think about that. A 15-year-old kid spending 2 days with one of the most powerful men in music.
Very grateful to have influences in my life that have played a huge part in me seeing their relationship with Jesus and their relationship with their wives and their relationship with their kids and saying that's what I want.
And he tells the world that what they're doing can't be talked about. That doesn't sound like mentorship, that sounds straight up suspicious. And the crazy part? It's still online for anyone to see. In the video, Bieber's smiling, laughing, clearly just a kid excited to be around a legend. But now, after everything that's come out about Diddy, watching that clip hits very differently. Diddy's tone, the way he talks about Bieber, almost like he's showing him off, like the kid was a prize. And remember, this was 2009. Bieber was brand new to the industry, young, impressionable, and suddenly orbiting one of hip-hop's most powerful figures. Fast forward to 2024, Diddy's arrest shakes the world and the internet starts digging through old clips. That 48 hours video resurfaces and instantly goes viral again. Comment sections explode, people calling it creepy, predatory, and uncomfortable. Some even said it felt more like the opening scene of a horror movie than a celebrity mentorship moment. The energy was off, and everyone felt it. Then, in May 2025, Justin Bieber finally broke his silence. Through his representative, he released a careful statement. While Justin himself was not one of Sean Combs' victims, he acknowledged that there are individuals who were genuinely harmed by him. That single sentence changed everything, because on one hand, Bieber made it clear he wasn't personally a victim, but on the other, he confirmed harm did happen to others. And that's the part that sent shockwaves across the internet. His choice of words felt intentional, like there was more being left unsaid. So now everyone's asking, What really went down during those mysterious 48 hours? Why couldn't Diddy disclose what they were doing? Was Bieber truly safe? And if nothing bad happened, why does that video still feel so off when you watch it today? Netflix never touched this story. Not one mention, not one clip, even though it's been public for years. It's one of those strange, unsettling moments that make people question just how deep Diddy's influence really went and how many stories from his past are still hidden behind closed doors. Why did that old Diddy and Bieber video make everyone's skin crawl years later? Why did it feel so uncomfortable that Bieber's team had to release a statement just to calm things down? Netflix didn't go near it, maybe because Bieber denied being a victim, or maybe because touching it could have opened a legal mess too big to contain.
And I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
But here's the wild part. That clip is still one of the most watched Diddy videos on the internet today, and yet it's completely missing from 50 Cent's documentary. Not a second of it made the cut. And now we've got to talk about Usher, because his story might be the most disturbing one of all, and Netflix barely even whispered about it. Back in the early 1990s, Usher was just 13 years old, a kid still figuring out who he was, when his mother made a decision that would change his life forever. She sent him to live with Diddy for a full year. The setup was called Puffy Flavor Camp, and it sounded harmless enough. A mentorship program where Diddy would teach him how to make it in the music game. But what actually happened? Way more complicated than that. Think about it. A 13-year-old living under the same roof as a grown man known for throwing non-stop parties surrounded by celebrities, alcohol, and chaos most adults couldn't even handle. That's not mentorship, that's madness. Usher himself has admitted that the year he spent with Diddy was wild and crazy, saying he saw things no 13-year-old should ever see. He wasn't exaggerating either. By the time he was 15, he was already surrounded by an adult world, parties, women, drugs, situations no kid should be near.
That a 13-year-old probably should not be.
It wasn't a few wild nights. It was every single day for a year straight. Usher said it himself. It wasn't a learning experience. It was something that could have completely derailed his life before it even started. When he later sat down for an interview with Howard Stern and was asked if he'd ever send his own kids to Puffy Flavor Camp, his response was instant. Hell no, that's crazy. No hesitation, no sugarcoating, just raw truth. That one line said everything anyone needed to know about what really went down during that so-called mentorship. He survived it though. He built an empire of his own, won Grammys, and became one of the biggest R&B legends in the world. But the scars from that early chapter, they never fully faded. And when Diddy's arrest hit headlines in 2024, people noticed something strange. Usher's entire Twitter account vanished overnight. Every single post gone. Fans started asking questions fast. Was he scrubbing evidence, trying to distance himself, or just tired of being dragged into conversations about Diddy's past? Nobody knows for sure, but it definitely raised eyebrows. And again, Netflix gave it nothing. Maybe a quick flash of young Usher in old footage, but no context, no real breakdown of what that year truly meant. It's like they wanted to pretend that chapter never existed. But here's where things start to click. When you line up Usher's story next to Justin Bieber's and even other young artists who cross paths with Diddy, a disturbing pattern starts to form.
Very curious things taking place, and I didn't necessarily understand.
Each one of them was too young, too inexperienced, suddenly thrown into an adult world that moved fast, reckless, and completely unfiltered. A world full of access, temptations, and moments no kid should have to navigate. Usher's time in Flavor Camp should have been a warning. A massive red flag waving in plain sight, but instead, it got buried. Netflix cut it from the documentary, leaving out one of the most important pieces of the puzzle, the part that could explain so much about Diddy's circle and how power in the industry worked back then. That's the real story, not the polished, edited version. A kid too young for that lifestyle, exposed to a world that could have swallowed him whole, and somehow he made it out. But the truth of what went down in that house, that's the story Netflix didn't want you to see. Now let's dive into one of the strangest and most confusing stories tied to Diddy, the mystery surrounding a young girl named Ava Baron. Back in 2020, a video popped up online showing Diddy with a little girl sitting beside him. In the clip, she calls him Papa Combs, and he kisses her on the cheek, smiling at the camera while saying he's adopted her. He even mentioned that her mother gave him permission, comparing himself to celebrities who had famously adopted children. The internet went crazy. People genuinely thought Diddy had welcomed a new daughter into the Combs family. The video spread fast, with fans reacting as if it were an official announcement. But soon, things started to look strange. There was no paperwork, no public record, no official statement. And before long, people began asking the obvious. If she was truly adopted, why wasn't she appearing in family photos or at events anymore? Something wasn't adding up. Then, in September 2024, TMZ dropped a report that flipped the whole thing upside down. According to their sources, Diddy never legally adopted Ava Baron. They claimed the entire thing was actually a skit. People close to the family said Ava was just a friend of Diddy's twin daughters, and the whole adoption moment was just a playful video, not a real legal process. After that report, Ava seemed to disappear completely from the public eye. No new pictures, no statements, no updates. Her family stayed silent, and most likely, she's just living privately now, away from all the noise. But that original video, it's still online, still being shared, and still raising eyebrows to this day. Fans can't stop asking, why did Diddy frame it like an adoption if it wasn't real? Why post it publicly at all? Was it a joke, a PR move, or something deeper? The intention behind that video remains a total mystery. And here's the kicker. Netflix didn't mention any of it in 50 Cent's documentary. Not a word. Maybe because no legal adoption ever happened, or maybe because it was just too messy and confusing to include. Either way, the story sits in that gray area between fact and fiction, the kind of moment that shows just how many strange, unanswered pieces still exist in Diddy's world. When you step back and look at everything, Kim Porter's hidden truth, Gene Deal's disturbing stories, Bieber's strange 48-hour encounter, Usher's wild childhood under Diddy's wing, and now the Ava Baron confusion, one thing becomes crystal clear. Netflix didn't even scratch the surface. The real story of Diddy's empire isn't just what we saw on screen. It's all the pieces that got left out, buried, or brushed aside. There are still gaps, rumors, and shadows that leave fans wondering what really happened behind the fame, the fortune, and the polished image. This documentary might have lit up the internet, but the truth? It's way bigger than what made the final cut. If you're as hooked on uncovering these hidden layers as we are, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and drop a comment with your thoughts. What do you think Netflix left out, and why?